Well, hello, everyone. It is Friday afternoon, a little later than our normal time, but we are here nonetheless. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Let's talk about the 10 things that parents need for a great, successful school year. I understand that the school year has already started for some of you, but it is not too late for us to go ahead and get some of these good tips. So come on in, come on in. I am going to get us started and save over here on my page or Dr. Brandy B so that we can go ahead and get started. Come on in, come on in. We're a little bit later than we would normally be, but we are here nonetheless. 10 things that parents are going to need to get the year off to a great start. We have two people who are here. Two people who are here. Come on in. Come on in. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm so excited to be here with you all this first Friday of August. Oh my goodness, we made it. We are on the other side of this year and it is going very well. Hopefully for you as it is for everybody else. Hopefully it is. We have 5 people here. Come on in. Let me know who you are. Give me a comment. We've got Miss Catrice Maddox. Great day, Dr. Brandy. Hello to you. We've got Miss Kalu Charisma in the building. Hello, Dr. Brandy B. She says hello to you as well. LaTroya Williamson Boyce. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you all for coming over to see me. I am going to pull up comments so I'm back to my baseline. I can see comments everywhere now, so I won't miss anybody. We have 8 people who are watching. My sister Erica and 4 other people. It says Erica says hello, my beautiful sister. Hello to you as well. My first question, Miss Catrice Maddox says, is how important is it for a child to have a 504 plan for your special needs child? We're going to talk about it. Terrence Francis is here and says hello and waves. I'm waving back. Hello. So good to see you over here. Thank you for coming to join us today. I'm so excited, y'all. I am super excited, y'all. Because it is August. These kids go back to school, y'all. I swear it feels like they just got out of school, but nonetheless, they are going back. Some have already gone. Mine will start Monday. So I'm very excited about them going back to school because they want to be back in school. They talk about school. They like school. And so if that's what they like, I love it. I love it. All right, so let me see what is going on. We have 11 people. We're going to give about 4 more people time to come on in. Latina Woods is here. Hello. Courtney Marie Nelson is watching. Come on in. Tell everybody hello for a wonderful. I didn't open up my blinds, but I know that the sun is shining. The sun is shining. I'm so excited. When is it time to request an evaluation for an IEP? Ooh, y'all got some good ones today, and we're going to talk about it. 10 things that parents need for a great school year. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I am Dr. Brandy B, your triple board certified pediatrician, adult psychiatrist, and child and adolescent psychiatrist. And through my Facebook live stream, Focus on It Friday, through my books, through my presentations, webinars, and wherever you find me, I am giving parents the information that they need so that they can help their children with ADHD get the education so that they can be successful in the classroom and in life. So today we are talking about 10 things that every parent needs in order for their children with ADHD to have a great school year. Let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, mom and dad, hopefully you have some paper. Go ahead and write it down. The first thing you need is a therapist. You need a therapist. That therapist is for yourself. Yep. You can get one for your kid, but you also need one for yourself, so you can get your mind right. All right. Yes. because some parents still have not even accepted that their kids have ADHD. All right. They have not accepted that their kids have ADHD. Some parents are still trying to adjust to that and figure out what that means. And then some parents just all around, they just don't know which way to go. And so having a therapist to say, hey, it's not the end of the world. Because remember what we say with Dr. Brandy B, it is not a disability, it is this ability. We're turning that thing around. While it can be a disability, right? And we want to be very sensitive to the fact that it is disabling to some people to have ADHD. What we want to do is look at it as this ability and look at all the ways that we can help them to get that. So we need a therapist to get our mind right. We need a therapist to help us with those mantras, to help us with those affirmations, to help us to keep our own sanity, as Miss Courtney Marie Nelson said, because sometimes you wonder if you're going to be able to keep it together, right? These kids are all over the place. They're forgetting what you told them. They cannot follow through on tasks. And so you need somebody to tell you to have a woosah and calm down, to have some grounding techniques, to have some other things to help you keep it together when everything around you seems to be falling apart. So the first thing that you need to do is to get a therapist for yourself. Miss Courtney says in full, and to help me cope with my sanity because she is difficult. Absolutely. These babies can be extremely difficult, but we know we need some therapy. And who is it that is a good candidate for therapy? Every human being, because every single day we are traumatized. People don't even try to traumatize us, but they can just do that just because they exist. Some people traumatize us by their existence, and for heaven's sake, people traumatize us with their words. And so we have to be prepared. We have to, stay prayed up. We have to stay guarded up, because just like that, somebody can say something that almost makes you lose your cool, or that has you focusing on what it is that they said or did to you months and years later, right? And so having a therapist, a professional somebody, not your girlfriend that you say, girl, let me tell you, and she have you busting the windows out of somebody's car. You don't want that. You want somebody who is professional to say, now let's work through that. If we burst the windows out of somebody's car, where is that going to lead us? Right? We need somebody to give us some professional tips to help us gain some insight. All right, let's see. Kalu Charisma says, that is why I joined a support group of parents with ADHD. I did not understand my child. Absolutely. Very difficult to understand, and they are even more difficult to deal with, to manage, and to handle, and to live with. To deal with, to live with, to handle, and to manage. And so, having some support groups, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. That's a little bit different than your therapist. So those people do not be, misled. Those people are not your therapist, because you're going to find some people in there. Mama Rudolph is watching. Hello. You're going to find some people in that group that may be triggering to you as well, because what happens is we as parents, we want to compare our children, right? And we want to say, well, my child isn't that far along, or my child is better than your child, or my child doesn't do that, or my child doesn't do that. And so we can find ourselves getting caught up in the what can be kind of scary, evil thing of comparison. So make it very clear that that is a support group, but that group does not serve as your therapist. But I'm glad that you found one. I know that you were looking for that last week. So the first thing that we're going to do is get us a therapist. And who is it that is a good candidate for therapist? Everybody. Some people won't go to therapy, and they driving everybody around them crazy. Lord have mercy. And so we want them to go so that they can help us keep our sanity. All right. The next thing we want to do, if we want our children to be successful, is that number 2, we want to get us, we want to have a teacher, and it could be a special education teacher. All right. You need to stay in touch, and consider IEP and 504. So somebody has already asked the question before we could even 504, before we even got started. How do we know if we need to do that? Well, thank goodness it was number 2 on the list, right? So we first need to be in contact with our child's teacher. Preferably, you have a teacher who is understanding of your child's disability and who can work with you, communicate with you. That is going to be the first step to make this work. That is really going to be the first step to make it work. And I want to emphasize to you, I spent a lot of time with teachers this summer, and I want to make sure, and I tell them, thank you for what you do, because teachers really are our friends. Teachers really do want to see your children shine, but you have to be in a mindset of thinking that they are not the enemy. Teachers really are our friends. So when your child's teacher calls you, don't block their number. Don't run, because that does not make the situation any better. It only prolongs what is that needs to happen to help your child. Now, when is it time to consider an IEP or 504? There is a process. The first thing that you need to do is request that your child be tested, right? After communicating with your child's teacher, then you want to provide written, I prefer written, a written request saying, I want my child to be tested, considered for, looked into, have addressed whether or not they need some special education services. What all could those be? It could be anything from extra time on test, or being in a quiet room on test, preferably not a mock closet. I've had some children who were put in mock closets. That's not okay. Maybe your child has ADHD and is autistic, and so they do not need to be in the lunchroom when it is loud. It may be that your child is left-handed and always needs to have a left-handed desk. That is something that might fall into the realm of a 504, but not an IEP. Or maybe it is that your child needs a break every 40 minutes. Maybe it is that your child needs to walk and change classes outside of the time that all of the other children are changing classes because the noise is too much for them. So you would need to write that letter to your school. And I suggest that you write it and give it to the principal, the child's teacher, the special education teacher. There can never be too many people that saw this letter, just so that letter does not get lost. Okay. We want everybody to have a copy of that letter so that they know that you want those services. Then they are going to respond to you and say, Mama, we decided we're going to test this child, or we decided that we're going to do an RTI, response to intervention, or we decided that we're not going to test this child because of X, Y, and Z. Then you have the option of doing a repeal and saying, well, you said you're not going to test this child, but I think that this needs to be reconsidered. And then we will go on to that degree. But that is how you get an IEP established. Ms. Courtney wanted to know, when is it time to request that? As soon as you think that it needs to be done. As soon as you think that it needs to be done. Now, my caveat, and I tell y'all this all the time, I hang out with educators, but I am not one, right? So I am not proficient in what it is that educators require. What I can tell you is that you need to be in communication with the teacher. You need to ask them, at what point do I need to request an IEP? And then they're going to give you an answer. And then you all know that I'm looking for my book. I don't see my book. Where's my book? I don't see my book. But you all know that ADAP, Alabama Disabilities Advocacy Program, for those of you here in Alabama, you are able to go to their website and look at the book, Special Education, a Right, Not a Privilege. And in the back of that book, first of all, the book walks you from A to Z through what special education is. It breaks down an IEP, a 504, why we need them, what diagnoses qualify for one or both of them. And then at the very back of that book, it walks you through sample letters so that you can request an IEP, okay, or 504. And I suggest highly that you look that up, ADAP, Alabama Disabilities Advocacy Program. But before you go to ADAP, I want you to have a conversation with your child's teacher, have a conversation with the child's special education teacher. And remember, you are your child's advocate. If you are not advocating for your child, you are doing your child a disservice. I cannot advocate for your child. Okay. I am stuck within the confines of four walls, and I see people virtually, and I give you the encouragement. I give you the education. I will connect you with the people. I will give you the resources, but I cannot beyond that be the advocate for your child. But you can, you should, and you absolutely have to be, because nobody else can advocate for me like me. All right. Good afternoon, my sister Priscilla. Thank you so much for joining. All right. So you need a good therapist. You need, for yourself, you need a teacher on your team, special education or general ed. And then you need a schedule or a routine. You need a schedule, schedule, and you need a routine. What is going on with the schedule and the routine? Children who have ADHD need consistency. they need consistency, right? You can imagine that if you're always doing things a million different ways, you are subject to forget something. And these are people who are forgetful. They are forgetful. And so it is much more likely that if they do something the same way all the time, that they are less likely to forget it. When will this routine come in handy? It will come in handy when it's time to do homework. You come in, you get a snack, you go straight and do your homework, right? You sit down in the same place and you do your homework, right? So you all know when you see this background behind me, you're like, oh, she's back at home, she's back in the office, right? And you see me on the beach, you're like, oh, she's doing something different. I see the waves in her sunglasses. I like that, but this is not where she normally is. So our brains are set up to do things consistently. Have you ever heard the term creature of habit? Sometimes you get in your car and it's a Sunday morning and you weren't going to your home church, you were going to visit someone else's church. But what happened? Your car just kind of ended up at your church and you were like, uh-oh. Okay. The same is with our children with ADHD. If we always pack our bags at night, put it by the door or put it in the car, even better, then we are much less likely to forget our bag. Had a mom today that I saw, an adult patient, and she said it was her first visit. She said that she always on a Monday would forget the child's nap bag, no matter how many times she's even sat it at the door, and still will forget it, because that's the level of forgiveness. But if you get in your mind, if you set alarms, if you have that schedule, then you are much more likely to not forget something. And that is so important. My attorney friend KG, all the way from Los Angeles, California, says, please address the need for confidentiality within the school system. This tends to be a problem which causes children to be made fun of when everybody knows that the child is on a medication. Absolutely. So, teachers absolutely should not be discussing your child's business with anybody outside of the people that need to know. Who are the people that need to know? Well, it would be any child that teaches your child, any teacher that teaches your child. It could actually be any teacher in the building, but not necessarily. If your child is in the kindergarten and they never encounter a fifth grade teacher, there's really no need for a fifth grade teacher to know that your child has anything going on with them. However, if the fifth grade teacher is the teacher that is over the school pickup line, then that teacher may need to know, because if your child is subject to run off because their medication, for example, has already left by 3 o'clock, that fifth grade teacher needs to know this child is a runner. Otherwise, the fifth grade teacher does not need to know. The nurse may need to know, right? If the nurse is giving medication, the nurse absolutely does know. The confidentiality piece is super important. It is, in fact, one of the reasons that a lot of parents do not want the school to know that anything is going on with the child, and certainly not that the child is taking any medications. So we have to make sure that we as educators in the room are being confidential. But I know you all that are watching Dr. Brandy B are already confidential, but make sure your colleagues know that confidentiality is absolutely the key. We've got Dr. Lachelle French Barmore in the building. Thank you so much for watching us. So we are talking about 10 things that parents of children with ADHD need to help their children have a great school year. The first thing you need, mom and dad, is a therapist for yourself to get your mind right. The second thing you need, mom and dad, is going to be a teacher or a special education teacher, so that you can stay in communication with them, and so that also you can get that 504, that IEP, when you need it. The third thing that you're going to need is a schedule and some routine. You're going to need to get those clothes out at night. You're going to need to get those clothes out at night. You're going to need to get those clothes out at night. Earring, underwear, necklace, everything that they need. Get that book bag out at night. Go ahead and put that book bag in the car, because in the morning, we know if we have children with ADHD, it is very hectic, very hectic. And so what happens? Something ends up getting left. Maybe even a kid gets left. Who knows? In the wonderful world of ADHD. We've got Tiffany Biner watching. Thank you so much for joining. All right, so that's number 3. Number four is that we need an educational source. We need an educational source. Okay, so what is your educational source? You all are coming over here to Dr. Brandy B, but guess what? It doesn't have to stop with me. It doesn't have to stop with me, because what am I doing? I am going on and I am getting, let me see, educational source to give you evidence-based practices and information. All right. So you don't want somebody who is just telling you all kind of stuff just because that's what you want to hear, telling you stuff that is not accurate, right? Made up, not factual. You want someone who is giving you evidence-based stuff. And I love it that y'all are here, right? But there's so many other people out there who do things similar to what I do. They may talk about ADHD in a different way. They may talk about ADHD in the parent who has ADHD, and that speaks to your heart, because we know that if you're looking at a child with ADHD, 51% of dads and 41% of moms have it. And so I cannot speak to you about having ADHD and parenting a child with ADHD, because that's not my my ministry. But if that is something that interests you and speaks to your soul, let's find you somebody who is a mom that has it, because she's going to be able to tell you about some frustrations that she deals with having it herself and then having to parent children with it. So make sure that you get an educational source that speaks to you, that gives you what you need, just like a church, right? Every church in for everybody. Some people like the mega church where they can go and get lost. Some people like the church with 10 members so that they can never get lost. It just depends, but find what speaks to you so that you can get your mind right and do what is best for your baby. That's number 4. Number 5 is get a psychiatrist. Get a psychiatrist. Now, what is that psychiatrist for? For you and your child. All right. Get a psychiatrist for your child and you. All right. And why is that? And that is because, and y'all know I don't talk about it much over here because it's scary to people. But when you want your child to really get better, really get better. And let me just say this: evidence-based medicine, ADHD is treated best by a combination of medication and therapy. If you leave out the medication piece, you are leaving out a key piece of treatment for ADHD. That is completely your choice, right? Those kids don't live with me, so they may not shine the way that I would like for them to, in the way that I know that they can. But as long as they're shining to the best of their ability and what you all think is best for them, then go ahead on and shine. But you need someone who is well-versed with the medicines, understands the medicines, and is not afraid of the medicines. You also, mom and dad, for whether you have anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, or ADHD yourself, you need someone who is well-versed in being able to treat you. Because guess what? The parent that is best suited to treat a child with ADHD is a parent who is completely mentally well. We have far too many mentally ill parents trying to parent children in general, but especially the child with behavioral problems and ADHD. All right, so we've got to get that taken care of. Miss Janice Watkins says, what if the child becomes a teenager and decides he or she does not want to take their medicine? Oh my goodness, Miss Janice Watkins, I made a post on my personal page about this very thing not long ago. Miss Pat King, welcome. Thank you for joining. And I ask everybody to pray for that mom, to pray for that parent who is parenting a child, an adult child with any mental illness. And my God, and even with the teenager, the best that we can do, my approach is to not say you've got to do this. My approach is to say, let's step back. Do you remember what life was like before you started medicine? Yes, ma'am. I was failing classes. I was fighting every day. I was getting suspended. None of my peers liked me. Okay, great. Do you remember what life was like when you took your medicine? Oh, yes, ma'am. My grades improved. I made the honor roll. My friends liked me. I never got in school. I never got suspended. Oh, yes. So would you agree that the medicine was helpful? Yes. Would you agree that you need the medicine? Yes. All right. Would you like to take the medicine? Nope. Okay. Why don't you like to take the medicine? Now, at that point, that answer is key, but you got to set it up like I did and help them to say out loud that the medicine was helpful. So once they say it's helpful, now you want to know why they don't want to take it. They may not want to take it because they don't like the way it makes them feel. Then you go back up to number 5, call up your psychiatrist, call up their psychiatrist, call up their family doctor, and say, let me go back up to number 5 too. I wish I could edit this. I can delete it. Hold on. Yes. So number 5 will be a psychiatrist or PCP. There we go. To treat the child. There we go. And youth. Okay. So you want to call that person back, whoever is prescribing, because I don't want to just say psychiatrist, because it may be a while before you get in to see us. And you want to say, look, this baby said that they didn't like the way the medicine made them feel. If you're seeing a primary doctor and they say, well, look, that's beyond the scope. All I know to do is this one medicine and we kind of maxed it out, or they didn't like it. That's when you need to go to the next step. Okay. So if the child says, I don't like the way it makes me feel, see if you can figure out what more don't they like. Do they not? I mean, are they having headaches, upset stomach? What are they having? And then you want to make sure that you tell the person who's prescribing the medicine what it is that they said. Now, if they say, my friends all think I'm crazy, or my friends might think I'm crazy, then we need to define what crazy means. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about how their bodies are set up a little bit differently, but no differently than if they had diabetes, or if they had vision problems, or if they needed braces on their teeth, right? And so we're going to just take something to correct the vision loss. We're going to take something to make the teeth be straight, and then we're going to move on with life. And the other thing that is absolutely necessary for teenagers to know is that nobody knows what you're taking at your house. Why in the world would anybody know unless you tell them, right? And then the other thing they may say was, well, I don't like taking that medicine at school, which goes back up to Attorney KG's point. Nobody has to know that you're taking medicine. And an astute physician like myself is going to say, oh my goodness, you're beyond the 5th grade. We don't want to do anything at school because that's embarrassing to you, right? And so your friends notice. Kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, they may not notice. They may not know where you're going. But in 5th grade and higher, and even some of the lower grades, they may say, well, look at you. You're going, to such and such school. But we've really got to work with our kids, this self-confidence thing, right? It starts super early. So if you've not told your child today you love them, you're proud of them, and that they are uniquely made and they are perfectly made, right? With their own imperfections, perfectly made with their own imperfections, we are right away not giving them what they need, because if it is the peer pressure that is bothering them, that's going to be hard to correct in teenage years. So we need to go ahead and start setting that up right now. But we really need to have candid conversations with these teenagers. Conversations, not screaming matches, not barking matches, because you know how it feels when somebody screams and yells at you. You're not even half paying attention, and you certainly are not about to do what it is they're trying to get you to do. But if you go to them in love after prayer with a well-rested mind, an insightful mind, looking for answers and not demanding actions, then they're going to tell you what it is that you need to know, and then you can go from there. And then sometimes mom, Miss Janice Watkins, they may just say, you know what, Mom, I'm just not going to take it. And at that point, you do what every good mama on this planet has had to do at some point in her life. Regardless of how good or indifferent her children are, you start praying. Because we know where ADHD can lead, and we're going to pray that it leads to only the best of those options. I hope that helped. Tell me if that helped. Mama Rudolph said that's good information. Thank you, Mama. Yes. So we've got, what do we have? We have the therapist to help you keep your mind right. We have the teacher, special ed or general, so that you can be in touch, so that we can get the kids the educational goals that they need. And mom and dad, let me just say this right here. All right. Your child is special. Your child is special to you. So there's nothing wrong with some special education. Would I put my children in special education? Absolutely so. Absolutely. Yes, I would. Did I put my child right away into some speech therapy? Yes, I did. Until that lady said, ma'am, we really think he's just young. You're comparing him to your older child who's only 17 months younger. I said, if that speech doesn't get better, I'll be back. Okay, I'll be back. The speech now is improving. He had some problems with CH words. And the other day he used to say share for chair. But the other day, hallelujah, he said chair. I said, baby, what you say? He said chair. Mama, you sitting in the chair. Because he was young and immature in his speech, right? But guess what? I wasn't taking any chances, because I'm an expert of a lot of things, but I'm not an expert of speech development. So I took him to someone who could help us with that. That's what we got to do. All right. So if our babies need some special education, some speech therapy, some occupational therapy, If they need to be in therapy themselves, whatever it is they need, we've got to make sure that we are giving that to them. We got to make sure that we're giving that to them. What else we got to do? We got to have a schedule and some routines. We got to get those clothes out at night. We got to do the same thing at the same time every day as much as possible. We don't want to go so far that we're robots, right? But we want to make sure that there is some consistency in our schedule so that immediately the child can say in the morning, my shoulders are light when they're walking out the door, turn around and get their own book bag. That's what we're wanting. We're wanting children who are able to be self-sufficient and able to survive on their own. Parents say he ought to be able to do this at this age, but you've never shown him how to do it. He ought to be able to do a lot of stuff, but if you've never shown it and had it drilled in over and over and over and over again, he won't be able to do it. Just because he woke up and turned 13, if he's never fixed an egg before, he won't fix it on his 13th birthday. So you got to show him how to do it, right? All right. Let's see. That's number 3. Number 4, educational sources. Whether it be Dr. Brandy B, this is a great place to start. But then you may need something a little bit more specialized for your interests and your needs. Please go find it. And if you don't need, if you can't find it, ask me. And if I don't move fast enough, be like my friend Sure and say, honey, I found my tribe. Absolutely. Because that's what we got to do when we are parents. When we're parents, what's the next thing we got to do? Number 5, we've got to get a psychiatrist, or we've got to get a family practitioner who has some special interests, pediatrician who has special interests, or at least will try to start some mental health medications. Because while you're waiting to see someone like me, the entire semester may have passed, and we do not want that. Miss Tiffany Biner says, yes, great information. Thank you so much. KG says, great info. Yes, we're so glad you are here all the way from Los Angeles. My sissy Keena Bailey is praising God. Yes, right. Get them the things that they need. Miss Janice Watkins says that was very helpful. I'm so glad, Miss Watkins. I want you to report back and tell me in my inbox how the conversation goes. We've got to have the conversation. You know what? So many times parents of adolescents will say, you never told me that, to their children after I ask their child a question that then they answer. And I stopped them and I said, when did you ever ask them? And they never asked them. Kids will tell you all kind of stuff if you will listen. Y'all know I told y'all that my mama in elementary school, she would pick me up, turn the radio off. We would just be riding there, windows down, radio off. It was hot and boring. But guess what? We would talk. And then she later told me in adulthood that she didn't care what I was talking about. Y'all, hurt my feelings so bad because I thought, oh Lord, I thought she was interested in that little childhood drama. She was not. What she was doing was getting it set up so that when things got tough and there needed to be a conversation, we already had things. We knew what it was like to talk to each other. I knew that I could talk to her because she was going to listen. The radio wasn't on, the TV wasn't on. You know, this was the 80s. So a cell phone was unheard of. At best, we were trying to read the instructions to figure out how to get that VCR to work. Okay. So you've got to set that up now. And I even catch myself, my oldest, right? John Rodner, who's 7 going to the 2nd grade. Most of the time he's off doing his own thing, but he'll come and he'll say, mama, look, I have made it a point to not only look up from the phone, but to put the phone down so that he knows at that moment when he calls my name, he has my full undivided attention. So we got to make sure that we're doing that. Got to make sure we're doing that. Priscilla says she agrees. Dr. Barmore says, Dr. Brandy, do you have some references for African-American child therapists? You bet I do. You bet I do, because why? We know, and I've mentioned this before, was that last week? May have been last week or the week before. Representation matters. And people say, well, all medicine is medicine, but all medicine might be medicine, but it is not the same. It's not the same. It's not delivered the same. Am I like every other child psychiatrist you met? You may not have seen a lot of other child psychiatrists. Am I like any other doctor you've ever met? Absolutely not. Right. And so everybody brings their own uniqueness to the table. And so I had a child once, the mom was talking to me. Her mother is a pastor. So the child's grandmother is a pastor. Was adamantly against medication, adamantly against it. The grandmother was somewhere else. The mama's talking to me, but she's on the phone with the grandmother. I don't know what the grandmother was saying, but then the mom said to the grandmother, she's Christian and she's black. And I guess the grandmama said, oh, okay then. So yes, representation does matter, but I treat everybody, right? I love everybody. I treat everybody, and I get everybody together the same way, right? I will tell you like it is, and I will tell you off. It does not matter to me one bit. Okay. But yes, we have some references that I can give you. Absolutely, absolutely. Hello, let's see. We got Facebook user. Tell us who you are. We want to know your name over here at Dr. Brandy B. All right, let's keep going. Where were we? Did we stop at number 5? Number 6, we're halfway there. Number 6, you need a good seamstress. You need a good seamstress. Now, why do I say that? A good seamstress, clothing line, all of that. Now, why in the world would we need that, Dr. Brandy B? I'm so glad you asked me. We have not really talked about it a whole lot, but children with ADHD have a lot of sensitivities. A lot of sensitivities to sound, a lot of sensitivities to light, a lot of sensitivities to touch. And I know what y'all are saying now, Dr. Brandy B. We paid attention to that September 2020 presentation where you did 2 separate presentations, changed clothes, came back. It was on a Friday night, 5 o'clock. You had a different outfit. You were cute, but we were paying attention. Okay, now that was a shameless plug for y'all that are worried about autism spectrum disorder to go listen. But we were listening to that one and you said all that stuff over there. And it's true. But remember, ADHD, right? All of these disorders deal with the brain. So when we talk about our children with ADHD having sensitivities to food, not liking certain textures, having sensitivity to touch, right? Not liking the tags in their clothes, not liking seams in their socks, not liking certain elastic around their waist. Believe them, not liking jeans, only wanting to wear soft clothes. Pay attention to them. Pay attention to them. They may not just be being difficult. It may be that it hurts. And I can't describe to you how it hurts, but just imagine somebody taking their nails and going down a chalkboard. That is the way that it hurts to them. So, if there comes a time when the family is going to go to the beach and take those white tops and blue jean bottom pictures that we like to take, then, hey, oh my goodness, my friend Booker, she is loving the information. All right, that's Kay Booker. She is being a little bit incognito, and that's all right. We're so appreciative for you joining us today. One of Birmingham City Schools' finest, absolutely, hands down. So yes, they are going to have those sensitivities, right? And so we need to be able to address them in love and not say you just gonna wear it. And back to that beach photo. If you're gonna do that beach photo in the jeans, they do make jean looking material, but you may just say, look, we've got to get this picture because your great grandmama wants this picture with everybody in these jeans. Can you just please wear these jeans for about 15, 20 minutes while we get this photo? Then we're going to go on, get you out of these jeans and you can get back in the water because they may like the water. Okay, does that make sense? But we've got to be sensitive to that. We've also got to really tune in and we're going to start talking more about this, right? Because I want y'all to be real smart over here. We're going to expand our knowledge base a little bit. The people who don't know what ADHD is and that there's no such thing as ADD, we're going to start sending them back to the beginning. And we're going to keep moving forward because I can tell y'all want to learn and I'm going to teach it. Rejection sensitivity is real in these children, right? So not just the clothing, but rejection sensitivity. These kids will fly off the handle. That you will say, oh, son, we're going to work on that so you can do better next time. What they hear is, I'm a failure. I can't ever do anything right. And so we've got to be really sensitive with our words and catch them when they go off in the corner and cry after we've said something that we thought was absolutely benign. But to them, it rocked their whole world because it just signified that they are losers. And that is absolutely not what you meant, but that's what they heard. And so a person's, their reality is their truth. And so we need to step over into their reality and say, boy, anybody meant that. So, oh my goodness, let's talk about it. How can mommy say that differently next time? How can your teacher say that differently? How can your good friend say that differently, right? Because we want to put people in a box. But some people came in squares and circles, okay? Rectangles, triangles. And we just got to help them through that. All right, let's see what else we got. Ms. Sher says that is a great point. Understand them and communicate how they feel to get results. Absolutely. Remember to communicate with your kids and not talk. You want to talk to them and not at them. There is a difference. One of them is trying to get their point of view. The other of them is trying to get an action. Yes, I've changed my tone and my terminology for positive and negative behavior. And we absolutely do. And some parents will say, listen, parenting is a young people's sport. Sometimes I wonder if I have crossed that threshold myself, right? But it's a young people's sport because you need to be able to adjust to the mind frame, to the mindset that is required to raise a 2022 child. There is a reason that menopause happens, right? And that is because at a certain age, we are too old to be in this game. We're just too old to be in this game. And well, we got a lot of grandparents. Shout out to the grandparents. They are hanging in there like troopers. They are the real MVPs. Shout out to the grandparents. But they are having a time having to adjust to all these sensitivities. We got to talk softly to the child. We got to, cuddle the child. We got to buy shirts without tags for the child. They are just used to saying, you better tough it out, chew it out, bite the tag out. But we can't do that, right? Because that child has these needs that now we know what to call. No longer can we say something going on with that child. We know what it is. And when we know better, we do better. Okay, let's see. Now we're moving on. KG says, is the lady from Los Angeles that I spoke with last night in attendance here today. I hope you are here for this valuable information. Let me you know what? I don't have the name, but I hope that she is here. Maybe she can send you a message and let you know, because I don't think we exchanged her name because that was on Facebook. But y'all are engaged today. Let's see what Miss Rachel Robinson says. She says, my son deals with ADHD and impulse. So he just says disrespectful things to adults like his teachers. And how do I deal with that? First of all, is he being treated, Miss Rachel Robinson? You don't even have to answer that question for me. Miss Rachel Robinson, I don't recognize your name. I apologize if you've been here before. But welcome to Focus on It Friday, where we have all kind of fun, honey. We just get up in your business and get you straight. So what these babies can shine. Let me tell you, there are three types of ADHD, right? There's a predominantly inattentive presentation, predominantly hyperactive impulsive presentation, and then the combined presentation. Okay, Miss Rachel, there is no more ADD. So what happens with impulsivity? Impulsivity can be from your actions that you're physically doing. Impulsivity can be out of your mouth. You can say reckless stuff that actually hurts, right? Now, Miss Rachel, another thing that often happens with ADHD is something called oppositional defiant disorder, ODD. These are the kids that we call them the button pushers, right? They aren't trying to do it necessarily, but they do a good job of pushing buttons. They are oppositional, which means they do the opposite of what they're told. They're argumentative, defiant, easily annoy others, blame others for their mistakes. They are vindictive, Miss Rachel, and then sometimes they tantrum. When they tantrum, what happens, Miss Rachel? I'm glad you asked. They may roll over in the floor. They may punch somebody, throw something, kick something. And guess what, Miss Rachel, they do that hurts more than any of that stuff I just named? They say stuff. What kind of stuff do they say? They say stuff like, I hate you. I don't love you. You're not the boss of me. You can't make me do it. I'm just dumb. I can't get it right. Okay, so now you got ADHD, because I know you're like, well, lady, I told you my child had ADHD. Right, but ADHD and ODD go together a lot of times, sometimes 30 to 40%, right? So if you now have a child who says things off the handle because of their ODD, they're impulsive, they're vindictive, right? And then you've got a child with ADHD who is impulsive and just might say any old thing. And to be honest, sometimes, Miss Rachel, they're trying to get out of doing their work. They either don't understand it, they can't focus on it. It's above their head, or they're frustrated, Miss Rachel, because they know they can do the work, but because of not being able to focus or not understanding it, even though they know they should understand it, it's overcoming to them. It's overwhelming. So they may instead just say, I can't get it. I'm not going to do it. You're not the boss of me. Then what happens? The teacher sends them out to the principal's office. Mission accomplished. I don't have to do that work. Right? So we really have to get back. I cannot give you an answer, Miss Rachel, as far as how to deal with that, because I don't know what the source of the reason that the child is saying it. And I also don't know what the child is saying. Now, should the child be disrespectful? No. But do we need to find out why the child is disrespectful and what exactly the child is doing and saying to be disrespectful? Yes. Anything that we do, guys, in all of medicine deals with taking a history. That is why I can diagnose ADHD by looking at a child's book bag, but I always am going to take a history, because a child's book bag may be disorganized because they're blind. Okay. So before I go assuming it's ADHD, I need to make sure they can see. I need to make sure that they can read. And so that they know that reading says reading and not math. And that's why their math is in their reading folder. Right. So we got to go back and get some more history, Mom. But that's a good question. That'll be easy to deal with, Mom. That's real easy to deal with once we figure out what it is. So find out some more information. Let me know what you find out. Miss Janetta Tootle Tarkington, oppositional defiant disorder. Well, absolutely, it is 100% real. Back in the day, we just probably called it ADHD. I mean, probably called it bad. All right, and I do have a presentation on My Child is BAD. Look for that one. Look for that one. Okay, y'all. Let me tell you one real quick thing. If you're on my page and so you want to know, yes, you're welcome, Miss Rachel. Hopefully that was helpful. If you want to find a presentation, a live stream about any topic, when you're looking at my page, and I assume yours looks like mine, when you go to Dr. Brandy B, me and looking real cute in the white coat, there's going to be on that first little row 3 dots, dot, in one square. Click that. Then when it brings up the next page, click search. And it's going to search just my page. And when you search my page, if you want to know about autism, if you want to know about ODD, if you put in B.A.D. it'll pull up that presentation. I just figured that out. It has really worked well for me when I want to send things to families. All right, let's move on so we can get out of here. Number 7. We're talking about things that every parent needs to have a great school year. Number 7 is that you need a PCP, a primary care physician, PHYSICIAN. Okay, you need a good primary care physician. Why? I've already mentioned one place that you could need them, and that will be with prescribing medications. But your child needs a good primary care physician, and you too, to make sure that your child is in good health. There are so many things. For example, lead intoxication. Your child has too much lead. Now, that is a rare finding because gas is unleaded. Now, paint is unleaded. But if you live in a house that was built prior to 1978 and your child ate lead chips from the paint when it fell off, they may have lead intoxicity. And so lead lead toxicity can look like ADHD, have a lot of symptoms of that, have a lot of GI upset, so abdominal pain and other GI problems like constipation. And it can have some other neurologic problems as well. You need a good pediatrician. Now, because I'm board certified in pediatrics, I do a lot of that stuff. But really, your psychiatrist may not be doing all of that. It may not cross their radar, or they may just say, hey, you need to get this cleared medically, then come back and see me. Or they may say, I'm going to treat this, but only on the contingency that you're going to go and get some medical stuff worked out, first. A girlfriend of mine called us. She said, what do we do about pica? How do I treat that? Pica is eating nutritious or items of non-nutritious value. Okay. Now, and it is a sign of, it can be a sign of anemia. Now, let's go back. Y'all remember I was in the hospital. If you've been following me a while, at least since last summer, you know that I was in the hospital in September, okay? And I was in the hospital for anemia, okay? Now, if my family was laughing at me, I was laughing at myself, right? Why? Because I was eating paper towels. I was chewing paper towels. I didn't swallow, but I was chewing paper towels. Priscilla will tell y'all, chewing paper towels. Fast forward to when I got out of the hospital, I said, y'all, that's why I was chewing those paper towels, right? So I went back, looked at the labs, and my doctor said, we attributed your iron level, your hemoglobin to this, but really it was trending down all along. So that is the point that I'm trying to get you to say. You need to have somebody that is looking at your child from head to toe, making sure that they are growing, making sure that their weight is where it needs to be, taking them to the dentist. I was talking to Dr. Portia, a friend of mine in Texas. She's a dentist. And we were talking today. Somebody made a joke about missing side teeth. And I said, Dr. Portia, I need to have you come on, because she was saying that people don't know how to brush and floss correctly. So they end up with decay, and really you end up needing either a root canal or some other thing, or extraction, which means to pull it. And extraction is the cheaper route. So now you got people with no teeth on the side, okay? Now, I said to Dr. Portia, I need to have you come on the store, because it hit me that dental health and mental health are only off by one letter. Have y'all ever noticed that? One letter, right? And some of us can't even smile. We want people to smile and show how happy they are, but their teeth are not right. So all of this stuff is orchestrated by our primary care provider. So we need to make sure that we have that on board for both us and ourselves. Okay. Now let's see. Miss Paula Moore said, first time here, saw you on Parapalooza. Blessed to have found you. Oh my goodness, Miss Paula Moore, and maybe you even Dr. Paula Moore. I don't know. I'm so glad you're here. That was a lot of fun doing Parapalooza. I mentioned it to you all last week here on the show. But glad you have found me, Miss Paula Moore. Go on and go back and just have yourself a delightful weekend watching all of my shows. Just binge on them. We have a good time over here at Dr. Brandy B. All right. So that's why we need a good primary care physician. That number 8, y'all, we getting to the end. Number 8, we're going to do a sleep routine. Now, I mentioned sleep before. We need a good sleep routine for the house. For everyone in the house. For everyone. I can't spell y'all. For everyone in the house. Good sleep routine. Why? Because when we sleep, our bodies get renewed. Our thoughts get renewed. We are ready to take on the day. If we don't sleep well, if our children don't sleep well, they will look like they are inattentive. They can look like they're anxious. They can look like they are just not with it. They can look irritable. Can you imagine going in to take a test and you fall asleep on the test? Now you get 3 out of 10 correct. Then they want to put you in an IEP, special education. Right? So we want to make sure that we're getting good sleep. Okay. So everybody needs 8 hours of sleep, but I read something last night that made me feel a little bit better about life. I had one eye open at the time, so I'm gonna have to go back and read it again, but it said a good time to go to sleep is between 10 and 11 p.m. Now, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and search that. So don't, but if you're going to bed at 1 and 2 and you can go between 10 and 11, that's still a win. It said that anybody who goes to bed after 12 is at risk for obesity. Now, we know that, right? Because if you're up super late at night, there is nothing more delicious than a bag of butter. That's what I call those Lay's potato chips in that yellow bag. Y'all know what I like. I love yellow stuff. But, honey, those Lay's potato chips, as mama say, are mama on the lip and forever on the hip. So we got to be careful about that. Just close our eyes, go to bed, and enjoy the fast, okay? But we've got to sleep. We've got to sleep. That is the time when everything shuts down and gets renewed. Kids are irritable the next day if they don't sleep. And if they don't sleep, you don't sleep. So everybody needs to sleep in the house. So much happens when we're sleeping. And if we're not sleeping, then we need to make sure that is changed. Now, if you want to know about sleep, of course, I've done a live stream on that. Just go to the page and search sleep. But I will tell you, having a routine is good. Doing nothing in the bed but sleeping, and what adults do is all that should be done in the bed. Don't go to bed reading. Your brain gets confused about, are we reading or are we sleeping? So don't do anything in the bed but go to sleep, okay? Don't go to bed eating. Now your brain's like, is this the kitchen or is it the bedroom? Okay? Go to bed to go to sleep. Make it a conducive environment. The brain likes it when lights are off and there is no noise. And for heaven's sake, if you have obstructive sleep apnea, please, for all the love of all the money and all the shine in the world, please sleep with your CPAP. Why? Because I love you and I don't want you to die. But congestive heart failure is real. And when that heart gives out because you thought it was just an annoyance to your family members that you were snoring, it was so much more than that. You were killing your heart one breath at a time. So please, please, please wear your CPAP. If you got to take a couple of extra dollars, take a loan out from somebody to get a mask that is more conducive to you being able to stay in it all night, do that. But you have got to wear your CPAP. You are killing yourself every night, a little bit at a time. And we don't want that. We want you to be here to raise your kids so we don't have to. Okay? Okay. Number 9, get your village. Get your village. Now, Miss Sher said she found an online Facebook group. That's your village. These are the people that when you have a question in the middle of the night and you can't get your therapist on the line unless they are concierge or you're paying them nicely for that, these are the people that you're going to call and you're going to say, I don't know what to do. These are the people that you're going to call because, to be honest, some stuff I've read about, but I just don't know what it's like in real life. But those people in that group do. I have a couple mommy groups that I'm a part of because these people, their children are my age. They are in it with me. And then we come to know each other. We know each other's families. We even take a trip together. You know, they know our quirkiness. These are my online friends, my online sisters. We get each other. But when I need a medical opinion, that's not who I go to. And when I need somebody to give me good advice, that I may just not want to tell a whole group of people that I've never met, that's not who I go to. But having your tribe is important. Your tribe, your village could be your family, because every once in a while you're going to need some respite. And the girl that lives in North Dakota, who's real nice on the internet, and you would leave your child with her, you're pretty sure if y'all were in the same place. But if she's in North Dakota and you're in Georgia, that's not going to work. So you need somebody you can go to, if possible, to help give you some respite, because having a child with ADHD will wear you out. And even if you didn't have a child with ADHD, let's say you just had a child, period, or if you got a spouse, you just need to take a break every once in a while, right? So you need somebody who understands your child, understands you and how you like to parent your child, how you look at your child as not being a burden. You need them to be able to watch your child. So I see Miss Constance Booker coming on. That's another grandmother who is a part of the village for my good friend, sister, Dr. Nicole. And she comes over and steps in. My mom, Fred's parents. We've got a great village. That's the only way that we get to do all the stuff we do is because of our village. And so hopefully everybody has that. But I do recognize that some people don't. So just hang in there, close the door, light an incense, a candle, wherever, get you a bubble bath, and tell them I'll be back. Put a sign on there, back in 30 minutes. All right? Absolutely, absolutely. Let's see what we got. Miss Nene G says, I'm so glad you mentioned sleep. The importance is underestimated. Yes, Lord, we've got to sleep. We've got to sleep. Your body will actually shut down on you guys if you do not sleep. So, and you don't want that to happen. Your brain gets fogged, your muscles get tense. I mean, you've got to sleep, got to sleep. Let's see what else we got. Michelle Mitchell Jernigan, hello. She says, personal choices through Medicaid will pay for respite care. Ooh. Now, is that something you have to be on a Medicaid waiver for? I'm writing that down. Do we have to be on a Medicaid waiver to get personal choices? Tell us, oh wise one, if we have to be on the Medicaid waiver. And how do we get on the Medicaid waiver? Respite. I'm writing in my book. I keep a notebook, y'all. So I keep my notebook of all my referral sources. No, ma'am. Okay, so let's see. Personal choices through Medicaid. And we do not have to be on the Medicaid waiver. Now look at that. If you're in Alabama, you better check out personal choices, right? And so all of the people that are going to be providing respite are going to be people who would have been approved, gone through background checks. So you ain't just leaving them with JoJo from the corner while you go and have a moment of silence. These are going to be people that you would actually want your baby to be with. All right. And then what's the last one? Yes, we're clapping. I will send you the information, qualifications, or you have to pass a background check. See, I knew that was the case. So I might not pass. I'm just kidding. All right, we got one more, and then we out of here. Number 10. I can't find my list, but I know what number 10 is. Are we at number 9? Yep, that was number 9. Get your village. My mama says she is glad to be a part of our village. And honey, I am so glad that she is a part of mine. Mama kept all 3 of my babies till they were 2. And then we sent them off to war at daycare. But yes, let's see. Colin's pattern was sleep pattern was flipped. I had to let his school know what was going on. He's on melatonin and had a sleep study, and he had adenoid surgery. Absolutely. So sometimes those tonsils and or adenoids have to come out. If you can't just call up the local ENT and be like, we want to order up a number 1. combo, tonsillectomy and adenoidectomy. You got to have need some qualifications. You're usually going to have a lot of tonsillitis going on. And then that can make sleep a whole lot better, right? Because these kids are snoring too, right? But I cannot mention enough and beg you even to please sleep with your CPAP if you have one. Let's see. Okay, number 10. Of the 10 things parents need for a great school year. So number 1, you need a therapist. Number 2, you need a teacher and a special ed teacher. Number 3, number 3. Schedule and a routine. Number 4, educational source, like Dr. Brandy B's Focus on a Friday. Number 5, you need a psychiatrist for you and your child. Number 6, you need a good seamstress or clothier or some line of clothing that your child like. Number 7, you need a PCP. Number 8, that's my niece, y'all. My niece Amber is leaving. That's my budding speech pathologist. Number 8, you need a sleep routine. Number 9, you need your village. And number 10, drum roll, you need yourself. All right? Let's see. You have all you need. You have and you are all you need to parent your child. Believe it. All right? You have everything that you need within you to parent your child. Now, you may have to go outside and seek some help, right? So I'm not saying you know how to do it all, but I'm saying that you know how to create, use the other 9 things that I have. That's what all the cool parents are doing. All the cool parents are absolutely calling on and using other sources, other people. They standing on the corner screaming for help. I had a mama one time stand at the door and just keep knocking. And I was like, ma'am, I don't take walk-ins. And she was like, but can you please help me? I'm about to lose my job. Y'all remember at the beginning of the pandemic, that video. She said, I'm about to lose my job. Can you help me? And I looked at that mama from one mama to the next. And it was a good day for her because somebody didn't show up. And I saw her then. And that's what we've got to all have. We've got to have that fire in us. Bring it up. Do what you got to do to get your babies what they need. Because without you, they won't get it. There are a lot of people out there willing to help. Dr. Brandy B is among them. But like I told somebody this morning, you better ask all your questions now. Because the truth of the matter is this. When I hang up this screen, like right now, you're the most important person in my life. But when I shut this screen down, I got 3 kids, a husband, a mama, in-laws, nieces, nephews. I have other stuff I'm worried about. But I don't worry about that when I'm with you. So ask it now. But if you don't ask me all your questions, I have no way of knowing what they are. I have no way of knowing how to address them. Psychiatrist, not psychic. So you got to tell me. And if you don't tell me, that's on you. If you don't tell the teacher, I really think, despite what you said, we need to do more. That's on you. The teacher might notice some stuff. But if there's somebody else in that class who's 10 times worse than what you think your child is at their worst, they honestly may just be doing all they can to keep that other child safe or to keep your child safe from that other child. And they can't necessarily tell you that because, as Attorney KG said, there's confidentiality. So the classroom is full of a lot of moving parts. And so your teacher may not be able to get to you. But believe me, if that teacher had to take time out of their day to call you, believe them on whatever it is until you prove otherwise. But you know when your child's got something going on, right? So let's act on it. Remember that you have everything in you. I'm here to support you. I'm here to back you. I'm here to educate you, connect you. But I cannot go and advocate for you. but you can go and do it. You've got the tools in you. Activate those tools. Speak affirmations over your child's life. Speak affirmations over your child's year. My child will have a great year. My child will make the honor roll. My child will not be in trouble. I will keep my job. Right? Those are the things that you need to do. Make sure you go ahead and get your therapist. Make sure that if open house is happening and you can make your way there, meet that teacher. Let that teacher know, you know, you are involved. You're only a phone call, email, or text message away. And you are grateful for what it is that they do. And you're there to support them. You don't have to threaten them. Nobody responds positively to threats. But let them know that you're holding them accountable. You're working with them. You all are partners. And you are believing for a great year for your child. All right. Miss Stephanie says, hello, hello. Miss KG says, thank you so much. Yes. Miss Kalu says, thank you. Thank you. Good stuff right here. You are the best. Y'all are just so kind. Y'all are the best because y'all are the best parents in the land. Thank you for everybody who is just coming on, meeting us for the first time. Welcome to Dr. Brandy B's Focus on It Friday. All right, guys, if there are no other questions, I'm going to get out of here. Dr. Brandy B, your triple board certified pediatrician, adult psychiatrist, and child and adolescent psychiatrist. And through my Facebook live stream, Focus on It Friday, which is here every Friday at noon-ish Central Standard Time. We are answering your questions. We are putting myths to bed. We are helping you get knowledge so that you can help your children be successful in the classroom and in life. Remember that this is for educational purposes. I am not your doctor. I am not giving you medical advice. I'm just giving you a little bit of education. If you are my patient and you are contacting me on Dr. Brandy B's direct messenger, remember, I don't check that. So, and it's not HIPAA compliant. So don't do that. Call the office. The nurses are more than capable of helping you. If for some reason I'm out, they will take care of you. All right. Much love, much success. Go ahead and post those babies' pictures. And y'all have a good week. Remember, don't be in denial. Just be in position to help your babies. I'll see y'all next week. Love y'all very much. Thank you for being the best part of Dr. Brandy B. Bye.